Hi, Zizaran here with another video, and this is going to be a gauntlet tips and tricks video. So the gauntlet's coming up, so if you don't want to be like this, well, maybe this is the video for you. This is going to be a gauntlet tips and tricks, and it is going to focus on especially new players that are new to the gauntlet and want to try it for the first time, and you want as much help as you can get because you already realized that you're going to need it. Gauntlet is incredibly hard. It is hardcore solo self-fan and is going to test every single knowledge you have of Path of Exile. If you're sitting here thinking, I don't have much knowledge of Path of Exile, you're gonna have a great time. It's fun. It's very, very hard. There are crazy damage mods, as you can see here with the list of mods in the campaign. Both Act 1 to 5 and Act 6 to 10. Really, really dangerous. And you obviously have the extra chaos damage in Act 6, etc. And in KoE, so some abilities will be full screen. So we're gonna talk a little bit about what I would do if I was playing. Well, I will be playing, I will be doing the campaign, but I'm not competing because I'm casting. But yeah, we're gonna have a tips and tricks video. So already here at the start, the way it's going to look when you're starting the character is you'll have a join button here below create, and it'll say like Zizaran Gauntlet. And you'll be starting a character and it'll be in a special league. Now obviously Gauntlet's not live yet, so I can't show you an actual run. But there's a few things I want to talk about. So we make a character, and already, sadly, here is where I have to begin giving you advice. Now, some are probably thinking, well, how hard can Hillock be? Well, Hillock has actually been so hard that I have actually had to have a specific Hillock guide for this. So that is how hard Hillock is. And the reason for that is just crazy damage mods. Now, Hillock himself is probably not going to be the most insane that he's ever been in a gauntlet. Because we have had a lot of Fizz's extra elemental, which is obviously a lot harder here when you have 0% on your fire, cold, and lightning res. And not that bad later. Well, still bad, but you know, it's not that bad later comparatively. But there is one big difference here. Now, I don't know a full list of all the changes to bosses. Me and Viro specifically asked that if you don't need our input, we just want to let you cook so that we are surprised when casting, because that would be a really fun experience. Now, we have given some suggestions, but I'm pretty sure that they are cooking with Hillock. So I don't know what that is going to be. I'm just assuming. It could be a lot of things. If I had to make a personal guess, what I would do Shaper Beam or Shaper Slam or something like that. Maybe Possessed by a Ziri, obviously lower damage, something like that. So there is a chance something crazy will happen. And what do you do if that's the case? If it's really messed up, you might have to farm the zone. So the way it works is, I can't remember the exact reset time, but I think it's like every 3 minutes or something, because you can do this for Onigoroshi farming. So you can go kill everything else in the zone, not Hillock, because Hillock's probably going to one-shot you if it's really crazy. And then you can like level up that way. Maybe get level 4 or 5 before killing Hillock. Now, again, they might not even do anything to Hillock, right? The thing is, I would feel terrible if they do, and I haven't told you guys how to get prepared for Hillock. Now, you might also have noticed what I'm doing. I've been fighting Hillock this entire time, and all I'm doing is running around him counterclockwise in a circle, and that at least makes that his melee attack can't hit you. They might do something crazy where I doubt they would make his attack change, is the thing, right? He would most likely get an additional move. There's maybe a chance that he's replaced by another boss entirely. Like, I'm a little bit scared since we are letting Neon cook. But if you see that I'm like attacking, running, it becomes very, very easy to handle him. But again, remember, you can make a new character, and if you're doing the level up thing, while you're waiting for the zone to change, if this is sadly needed, then remember you can make a new character. So you could have 3 or 4 characters. They are cycling through, killing some monsters on the beach, and waiting for the next zone to respawn with a new character. Now, I'm just saying this as a warning. Like, it's a just in case. Because I do like the idea of Hillock being really fucking hard. So I see the appeal there. I think that'd be fun. You guys would enjoy that. And that would be very different from the normal game. I did also tell them, like, please don't make them quit by Hillock. God, I hate those. Now, that being said, what about once you get a little bit further in the campaign? So it is really, really hard early. And in the gauntlet, over leveling is the key of the key of the key. You really want to over level, especially in this content, because all the maps, white, yellow, and red maps, are incredibly easy compared to previous continents. I think the most fucked one that we ever made was AoE and multi-proj. And we had like really messed up mods too. And we did end up seeing a large amount of people die in maps, and we didn't think that was that fun. So now maps are really easy. We have a really hard campaign, really hard uber bosses and normal bosses, so they're all going to be incredibly hard, but the maps themselves are not. So once you can get there, you can fairly easily get to 95. We have some really cool prizes. We have a lot of bounties. We're making a lot of mini races so that more people can participate, because you might not be able to participate in the uber race, but while other people are going for that, there might be other races, other bounties you can go for. So I want to talk a little bit about going through the campaign and where to farm to overlevel. And honestly, if you're a very new player, something like 8 levels over is not a bad idea. And for example, here in Act 1, like Ledge and Prisoner's Gate are both great places to farm. I'm going to my hideout so I don't have to hear those stupid goblins. Act 2. In Act 2, Western Forest and Northern Forest are okay. It basically depends how early in Act 2 you want to farm. And honestly, Southern Forest at the very start is not bad either. There has been gauntlets so hard that there was somebody that overleveled 15 or 16 levels over. I think it took them 30, 35 hours to get through the campaign. I think they were like level 32 before Weaver. Or 34. It was very high. And he crushed it. He got through the campaign. And that was his goal. And remember, like, everybody that gets through the campaign gets a guaranteed mystery box. So that is very cool of TDD to N. Another thing I didn't mention for Mirel, but remember that all the campaign bosses and maybe other things will have different abilities. Now, to the best of my knowledge, these aren't going to be things that you haven't seen before. This will be, for example, well, maybe Val Oversoul has a Cyrus Meteor in addition to his normal abilities. So you are going to have to adapt on the fly. Maybe pay attention to streamers that are ahead of you if you want to be really safe, or don't spoil yourself if you want to just go into it blind. But yeah, there will be new abilities and things happening that aren't there from before. So overleveling even more potent. Now, another good tip for Act 1 is remember that you can craft on white gear. You do not need it to be blue. You do not need it to have an open suffix. It can just be white like this, and then you can craft 16 to 20 fire rests. So that means already before Merveil, you can be pretty close to, actually you can be rest capped just by having like fire, cold, lightning, and 2 rest rings, etc. So that's huge. That already takes a large amount of the damage of moves and stuff like that. And especially if there's things like, you know, lightning, fire, cold beams or whatever earlier than you are expecting it. So yeah, honestly, already here in Ship Graveyard, I would recommend getting rest capped. Very important. So to achieve this, over farm areas, pick up every blue item, every rare item, sell them unidentified unless they have really good sockets and they're rare and they're like a type of item that you need something. Because obviously if you find something with like, let's say 15 life, 15 fire res, and an open suffix, that makes it even easier. So keep that in mind, rest capping early. Picking something that benefits a lot from overleveling would not be a bad idea. Like Gladiator Spectral Shield Throw, while is really strong and one of the things I will recommend the most for the Gauntlet, obviously it doesn't matter that much about overleveling. It is mostly about the shield you have, or, you know, during the campaign, the weapon you have, and it's got really good defense, but it doesn't gain a large amount of damage per level. Whereas, you know, anything that's a spell, stuff like that, would be Summon Rating Spirit's Guardian, for example, could be a good one, where you gain a large amount of power from your first ascendancy, a large amount of power every level, 15% or more damage per level. Let's go back to like where to level again. Act 3, Docks is excellent. Act 4, there isn't really a good zone. So if I was kind of level here, come Stronghold. And obviously like bosses might be hard. So yeah, you do want to level here. Act 5, Chamber of Innocence, such a good zone to level. I would probably not be surprised if both Innocence and Kitava have new weird stuff. Yeah, I don't know what they're going to do, but it'll be fun. Chamber Incense, here you can effectively level all the way to 58, pretty good. I would focus very much on gear here, make sure you're very rest capped for the next acts, And already here, the number one thing you can pick up here is Amethyst Rings, because in Act 6 to 10, we have Chaos damage and large amount of AoE. So you got to be really careful there. And Kitava in general, honestly, we've seen people die with like 2.2k, 2.4k HP here. So over leveling a lot. Like obviously, normally I would say I want at least 1.4 to 1.6k life. Try to hit 2.4, 2.5, and don't get hit by slams. It will do a lot of damage. So very, very careful. The biggest problem, again, a lot of the bosses, if not all of them, will have new abilities. So I don't know if Act 5 Kitava will be the hardest thing, but it normally is in all the previous gauntlets. Act 6, really nice leveling areas is Western Forest and Southern Forest are both good. I would probably just go straight to Southern. One thing I do want to mention, I don't know if they're going to do anything weird for like the quest bosses. So maybe something to keep in mind here would be over leveling even more, like going back and doing these later when you're Act 8 or maybe you're starting to struggle, etc. Act 7, a nice leveling zone would be Northern Forest. Act 8 would be Harbor Bridge. Act 9, obviously Blood Aqueduct. And Act 10, Desecrate, or sorry, the Reliquary is really nice here because it's super high level. However, over leveling here depends just on how hard is Act 10 Kitava. Because if Kitava in Act 10 ends up being easy, then rushing straight into maps will be the best thing you can do because maps are infinitely easier than the campaign. And then you get your free mystery box. But I will understand some people will not want to risk it and will want to overlevel even more to make sure they get Act 10 Kitava down. Now, another tip that might not work, but I want to say it anyway in case it does. The Orichalcum ore is incredibly strong at leveling campaign bosses. So starting over and over on the zone until you find a zone that has the Orichalcum ore is definitely super beneficial. That will one-shot bosses. Unless DDD for some whatever reason remove that when you go into a boss fight or it does no damage during the campaign or something like that. But in case they don't do that, I do want to mention it because the Orichalcum is so strong while doing the campaign. So keep that in mind. And then other than that, it is going to be very regular in white, yellow, red maps. There's just more damage. They're faster, etc. So be really careful. Over gear a lot. I cannot stress this enough. Going slower is so much better than having to go again. And we have some really cool prizes. And I love that every gauntlet we have people that have never raced before picking up bounties. We have people that have like never played hardcore before doing really well, getting 95, winning a PC, shit like that. It's always really cool to see. So you'd be surprised how far you can go with some tactical gameplay and some gumption. But yeah, I'm trying to think other tips and tricks. Being very careful about picking your build. Like Gladiator is probably the defensive powerhouse that most people want. And then not so much just about over leveling, but over gearing. Like maybe just grind out a zone for currency. You know, like you will farm, you will get essences, you will get an alch or scour or chaos here and there. So you might be stuck an hour or two farming, but it'll take you so far. So Gladiator, really, really nice. Obviously, Lacerate has more damage. Personally, I hate the way Lacerate feels. So a lot of people like Sunder or Earthquake. But Spectral Shield Throw, my favorite. It has less damage, but I love the playstyle. It feels so good. So I'm a huge fan of Spectral Shield Throw. But yeah, either way, I just wanted to make some tips and tricks. Big reminder that probably even the Whetstone or Woodstone, whatever they're called currently, bosses are going to be cursed. So good luck with bosses. Map bosses, I don't think you're going to have anything messed up. But be careful out there. It is a really deadly gauntlet. I hope you have a lot of fun. And yeah, we have so many cool things and bounties and stuff like that. So, and if you want to support the gauntlet, we have really cool mouse pads and stuff like that available for sale. I think they turned out incredibly cool. I'm shocked at the sales. We have over 300 people have bought one so far, so I'm glad you guys like it. But I want to show that off. That is one way of supporting the gauntlet. So again, thank you so much for all the support. We could not do these cool events without you. So from the bottom of mine and Viro's heart, thank you. Either way, try to die more than I do. I want to see some crazy death counts this gauntlet. So go out there and leave a corpse.